My friends, new Operation Moon Crash is of course coming to Team Fortress 2. Guys, I saw this on X this morning. I cannot believe Team Fortress 2, a game I honestly haven't played in over a decade, although I did used to love it, is seeing an operation before CS2 gets an operation. This is absolutely incredible. I thought it was just something fun to share with you guys. I don't know if any of you have played this, used to play it, continue to play it, but honestly, shocking front page news when I saw this. Anyways, couple of things to talk about today, but of course, welcome episode 18 of Skinconomy, our weekly CS2 market show. And it seems that Valve are back on the banning. We've seen quite a few bigger ban waves. This most recent one dated August 6th with about 4.7k bans, which is fantastic. Overall, back in game bans in the last 30 days, 32,000. SkinSwap is giving you a skin worth up to $50 entirely for free when you complete your first trade using the link in the description. If you want to upgrade your loadout, you can trade your skins for brand new ones in just a few clicks. Plus, their market tab now includes the cheapest offers from Chinese marketplaces, so you can access the best skin prices without needing a Chinese ID or bank account. You can deposit using card, Cash App, or crypto, and if you ever want to cash out, SkinSwap makes it easy with instant sell to PayPal, Venmo, or crypto. They also run free daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways, and every completed trade earns you extra chances to win. Use the link below to claim your free skin with up to $50 and receive a 3% lifetime sales bonus. Thanks again to SkinSwap for supporting the channel. But I have seen quite a bit of talk overall on X and even regarding cheating. It seems like that miscellaneous patch note that they added in the last update did actually do something, and I haven't seen any outright spin bots. To be fair, I haven't played a lot of matches in the last week, but yeah, so far I haven't encountered any full rage spin botters. So hey, maybe they're making some strides to improving it. So take that as you will. One thing I wanted to get into this week, and I said that I was going to ensure it happened, was the supply of the new Armory collection. So big shout out to Spinney here from CS Market Forum, who puts together this data. Fantastic, God's work, my friend. So yeah, a little bit hard to see on this graph as the new collections. Arabesque here is noted in orange in the bottom left, and actually the Spy Tech, which is this light blue, it gets a bit messed up in the just because of the scaling of the graph, I guess. But he has sent me another version, which I'll show you in just a moment. But I thought, let's just start with this and see how crazy these Spawn Field and Overpass redemptions are getting now. This is absolutely insane. So just for those of you who haven't seen this graph before, the scale of it, or rather the units in the left-hand side, the y-axis is in thousands. So 15,000 is 15 million. 15 million industrial skins for both the Spawn Field and Overpass. And one thing that's absolutely stood out to me when I saw this graph was that around the time when the most recent Last Chance to Buy message was added, not only did Spawn Field jump up like significantly, I would say they're about 40%. So it was at around 1.15 million, I guess. And then it's jumped up to around 17 million. But yeah, the Overpass collection as well saw a huge spike, which is just bizarre because obviously that one was not marked as leaving. So I'm not sure why redemptions of that collection have kind of trended in a near identical manner to Spawn Field, albeit slightly lower overall. But yeah, very strange. So if someone has a theory or an explanation as to why that is the case, would love to hear it. Otherwise, train collection, you can see down there, was sitting at give or take 4.3 million industrials, and then it jumped up to about 9.5, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of in line with some of the rough estimations I did a couple of weeks ago when I was looking at overall supply of the AWP Long Dog, for instance. The supply change of that, I was just using the factory new variants to extrapolate, and I think I said it was probably up about 80% from memory. So yeah, this is a little more than that, but yeah, roughly in the right ballpark. So that's nice to see. But yeah, absolutely crazy. If we just have a comparison as well well down the bottom. So the graphic design collection is the yellow one, and obviously you can see that it actually has increased a little bit over time. And of course, it's not in the Armory, so those data points are not coming from new redemptions, but rather CS Float database, perhaps new users logging in for the first time or changing their inventory from private to public. Obviously, the CS Float database can only account for skins that are in public inventories, or perhaps ones that have private or friends only if they have logged into the site. I don't remember exactly the specificities of that, but I believe it's something along those lines. So yeah, any private Steam accounts they obviously cannot access data for. So this is just what we know. So it increases a little bit over time, but obviously not very much compared to when it was actually being redeemed. If we just go to the zoomed in version, so this is just the first 22 weeks for all of the collections. So just to remind you, the orange line there is the Arabesque collection. So as you can see, significantly higher redemptions on the Arabesque collection compared to any of the other collections when they were released. That obviously makes a lot of sense for things like Overpass and Spawn Field, which are the red and blue lines, pretty much at 0 at the start because no one had any Armory stars, right? So it actually took people some time to do that. So that makes a lot of sense there. However, the Spy Tech collection, 200,000 in the first week versus 600,000 for Arabesque, so about 3 times less redemptions there. Interestingly, 1 week after, redemptions went up a bit. So I guess, not everyone is playing the game every day and keeping up to, got notifications enabled on the CS Twitter account, so they're not jumping on right away. But yeah, with pretty much after, it's dropping off. It's dropping off, as you can see, as of the last 2 weeks. So interesting. Week 1 and week 3 were very similar in terms of redemptions, but then by week 4, I guess this is actually indicated as week 3 because it's offset by a week. But yeah, anyway, it starts at week 0, I guess. Yeah, but technically that would be week 4. Anyway, 439,000 redemptions last week, I guess, then for the Arabesque collection versus 267,000 for the Spy Tech. So yeah, Arabesque consistently seeing more redemptions, but actually the disparity is decreasing, and I guess that's partially due to, I think perception is changing a little bit on some of the Spy Tech collection skins. People really like the Glock Ghost Protocol, as we've seen from the giveaway poll. Actually, I just put all of the new coverts. I was not expecting the Glock Ghost Protocol to win, honestly. Absolutely smashed all the others out of the park, so I think people really like that skin. Honestly, the auto exec has grown on me a little bit as well. I still think it's going to be overpriced. I'm not sure it should be a covert, but I think it would have been a sick classified, to be honest. It is definitely an upgrade over the crossfade, but again, I probably wouldn't spend 1,000 versus 5. But also on the Arabesque collection, I will say, I've mentioned it before, but I think the Eastern Enigma, for instance, has also grown on me. I had it in my inventory due to some of the trade-ups I was doing. I was playing with it in-game. It comes across better in-game with the in-person inspect than just on the menu, for instance, or on the redemption screen. So definitely can appreciate that a little more. But obviously that one's Arabesque collection. ROI was higher for Spy and Tech. So people who are actually looking at those numbers before they redeem might have seen that as an incentive. So maybe that also accounts a little bit for that difference. But you can see with a lot of these Armory collections, after the first couple of weeks, they drop off heavily. Like some are honestly near 0. You've got like 30,000, 20,000 there. Supply, what is the green line? I think the green is train, right? So yeah, the supply dropped off pretty quick there. So it will be very, very interesting to see. I honestly expect that these numbers will also drop off heavily very quickly, simply because people have mass dropped their stars. Like you can see that 1.1 million in the second week. So yeah, absolutely insane. I would expect this to drop off, but there you go. That's some supply numbers. So we are correct. Supply was significantly higher than any of the other collections early on, which also makes sense and was reflected in the price of what everything was selling at. But also it is dropping off now. So let's just see how that trend moves forward. And thanks again, Spinney, for the data, my friend. I'm giving away the brand new Glock Ghost Protocol in Field Tested this month. For your chance to win, simply like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I'll pick the winner August 31st. Good luck. One thing I wanted to look at today as well is I've just brought up one of these old random collections, Chop Shop collection. So released in 2015, was in a couple of the early operations. And I thought, let's just have a look at a skin here. I don't know, Mac 10 Fade, why not? Just some random example. And let's go have a look at the price chart of the Mac 10 Fade, right? A lot of people are feeling pretty down at the moment in terms of their CS2 investments in terms of their skin value. And I thought, all right, let's put things into perspective. Okay, we're going to exclude this. Well, yeah, obviously originally quite expensive, but if we just get rid of that tiny little huge spike, you can see that probably by the time it was last featured in operation, probably around here, like late 2015. So we're sitting at about, let's say, like $4.50. It actually went down probably after it got discontinued. So it didn't have any initial huge spike, down to $2.39 here. You can see it actually dropped again in 2017 down to $1.73. So you've lost over half the value here. It was up at $4, okay, even $5 nearly, down to $1.75. And just quickly as well, before I continue this little spiel, before YouTube demonetizes me, let's have a little disclaimer. This video is not professional financial advice. CS2 skins are virtual items and can be highly volatile, as we're seeing right now. Past performance is not indicative of future results, so please do your own further research and consider your financial position before making any decisions. Keep in mind that sentence, past performance does not indicate future returns. Very important for this comparison or kind of this data that we're looking at right now. I'm only mentioning this because, as you can see, some skins that, I mean, most people would say Mac 10 Fade, pretty cool skin, right? People love the Fade skins. It was down at $1.71, $1.61 there I saw on one day. Then look, it's gone up, it's recovered a little bit. Keep in mind, this is August 2018. That was already June 2017. This tiny bit of the graph is like a year and a half, guys. The time frame, obviously people are seeing Armory go down. 1 week later, can I sell my skins now? Patience is a virtue, and patience is so vital when it comes to investing, whether that's in CS items, I don't know, crypto, stocks, anything that you guys are spending money on, Rolex watches, fine wine. So absolutely. Let's go to 2019 then. It's back kind of to $4. So this is now 2, 3, 4 years after it was released pretty much, and we're back pretty much at where it was. So it's taken years to get back to this point. Then up to about $10 in 2020. 2021 drops down to, I guess, a minimum of about $8, then up, sees a spike up to about $14, then it drops back down, $10 in 2022, slowly rising throughout 2023, then CS2 beta gets released, $35 spike, back down to 26, back up to 33, 2024, back down to 23, slowly rising, although to be fair, rising at a much faster rate than before. By the start of 2025, we're at $35, and then let's just zoom into this period of time over like the last year or so, I guess. Yeah, look at the volatility on this thing. Jumps up to $112, back down to $62, back up to $118, back down to $73, up to $100, all the way down to what, $48, up to $63, down to $48. Guys, if a skin that you've bought has seen a bit of a price rise, it's dropped 20%, we don't need to panic. Let's be real. Like, the CS market is obviously crazy. But also, I would have hoped that when you bought in, you realized that this was probably a more long-term play. Obviously, not everything is. Some things are quick flips. Like, I can definitely get behind that. But obviously, depending on what you're buying and what your time frame is, hindsight is also a beautiful thing. You're gonna. I mean, I didn't cherry pick this. I could have probably picked something else that even saw better gains over time. But it was just a random. You know, I thought the collection would probably be a good example of this. You look at some of these old collections that people kind of hail as the ultimate CS2 investments. You're thinking Norse collection. Yeah, probably St. Mark, obviously, as well. But some of these older ones, Control collection, maybe for that blue phosphorite. A lot of these skins have seen huge growth, but they did not come in 1 week. They also, most of that growth, I mean, with the exception of the last year, none of that earlier growth was due to specific price pumps as well. So actually, if anything, you almost have that, like, I don't know if you want to call it a benefit, but exposure perhaps to the fact that anything you're holding could just be randomly pumped. So even if you think it has solid fundamentals, whether that be case investing or collection skins that will be consumed in trade ups or stickers that will be applied over time, obviously consumables probably in general much better, and the charms thing absolutely seems like a disaster right now. So I didn't have many charms. I had a couple, but the other thing, anyway, let me just summarize by saying a lot of skins see volatility. They go down in price, they go up in price, but the time frame should never really be measured in a couple of weeks. So even if you're seeing Armory stuff go down, and look, this is not exactly comparable to the Armory. That is totally a fair point. Valve have also been making changes in the last year that are significant and have big impacts to the game, fundamental changes to how mechanics objects work. That is also not the same thing. But I just wanted to highlight this because if you're in it for the long run, let's ride it out and see what happens in a couple of years from now. Whether it drops by 10% or 20% this week doesn't necessarily matter. As you saw, Mac 10 Fade dropped over 50%, 60% maybe. And then obviously, if you just bought then or if you just held from the beginning, what was the returns over this time period? Let's just have a look. I'm not going to take it from like the perfect bottom because I'm not saying you could time it like that, but even let's just take it from like just from the start of 2020, for instance, 450% price gain. Even now, let alone selling if you were able to sell at the top. Even if we crop down the time frame, we just put a roughly 4-year period. This is from 2018 to 2022, 254% price gain on the Mac 10 Fade. So look, there's lots of times where it's in profit. There will obviously be certain time periods where it's not. This is just a random example. I'm sure we could look at others, but yeah, just something to put in perspective and to keep in mind when you see your skins going down in value. Obviously, it's not great to see, but hey, buy low, sell high. If it goes down, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Let's have a little look then at our trending skins for this week. We have actually got the StatTrak Gut Knife Doppler Factory New. I'm not taking that too seriously in phase 2, I guess it looks like. Anyway, let's exclude that one. Besides the StatTrak Gut Knife Doppler Factory New phase 2, we have the USPS Orange Anolis in Factory New. This is Dust 2 collection. This is the normal version, not the souvenir one, seeing a bit of a increase in price again, and that's interesting. I actually did a trade up for this recently, so I was able to sell this week actually, and saw a nice return on that one. We've got the Galil Amber Fade, and actually all of these are Dust 2 collection, if I'm not mistaken. 2021 Dust 2 collection, up 25%. Souvenir G3SG1 New Root, so this is a souvenir version, but again, Dust 2 collection. We've got the Tech 9 Ossified up 23%. I feel like we've been seeing quite a bit of growth with the Tech 9s recently. We saw the titanium bit as well. Let's go have a look here what is happening. Okay, this is really just on a slight recovery mission. About mid or late March, it was up to $74, down to at $20, I guess, late July. Now just recovering slightly up to $24. So yeah, I'm sure this thing got pumped like crazy. What collection is this from? I actually have no idea. Aztec collection, man. Wow. I'm actually really curious to see what is the supply of this skin, this factory new, from such an old OG collection. I honestly couldn't tell you. I would have guessed. Okay, actually 47,000 is honestly higher than I would have guessed for the blue, because Aztec collection, is this the highest rarity in the collection? Maybe it was restricted? Yeah, this was the highest rarity of the collection. Then you can see a jungle tiger. Wow, look at this collection, man. 6 skins, absolutely crazy. Nova Forest Leaf, Lishan Dashed, and 5/7 jungle, 3 consumer grade skins, 2 industrial grade skins, 8K and M4 jungle spray, jungle tiger, and then the ossified. Absolutely insane, man. It's such a weird skin, you know, like it's not an awful skin, but it also has 0 trade up utility. 50,000 supply is not is like, it's honestly not that much. So it wouldn't be that hard to pump as well, which is obviously why it was, I guess. But yeah, $25 entry point ish now. I'm not sure about it. M4A4 Red DD pad is up as well, which is, yeah, again, Dust 2 collection. Man, pretty much the whole Dust 2 2021 collection is here. Nova Quicksand, MP9 Old Roots. All right, very interesting. The Orb Sun in Leo factory new up 20% this week. So what is that? Gods and Monsters Industrial. Very interesting. Moon in Libra here as well. Gods and Monsters. Okay, so a bit of movement in some of these older Operation collections as well. Tech 9 Toxic factory new up 18.8%. Is this the original cash collection? Yes, it is. All right, perfect. This is, yeah, just not a bit of a recovery. It's crazy, man. March was a crazy month this year, honestly. Everything seemed to be pumping in March. May, hopes was still high. Armory rotation coming in, and then downhill from there, my friends. Desert Eagle Knight factory new up 16%. We've also got, what here? The P2000 Panther camera. This is Ancient Collection factory new up 15%. And Glock 18 Weasel factory new up 15% as well this week. All right, this is seeing quite a bit of volatility though, to be honest. There's no clear trend here. Yeah, same sort of thing for the Deagle Knight. We're on a bit of a recovery from a few weeks back. In terms of what is on the decline this week, we've got the MP9 Orange Peel factory new, the Souvenir Galil Cerberus. Okay, cash collection. Yeah, the Cerberus hasn't been doing too well. It was getting a lot of hype back before Keisha's actual release when it was announced. Also, on a little side note, I am just like so disappointed in CS2 community because all I hear for years is that we want a new map in the pool, bring back cash, bring back cobblestone, we want these OG maps back, and then I genuinely have played it like 3 times in the last month. Every single time I go in Q Premier, I want to play some new cash. Let's mix it up. I'm so sick of Dust 2, man. I'm so sick of it. Insta-ban cash every time. Solo queue, it's insta-banned. 4-stack on my team, it's insta-banned. Org Navy Murano down 27%. Org Condemned Factory New down 24%. Org Radiation has it down 22%. Okay, some movement for whatever reason with a bunch of these orgs. The MP9 Orange Peel is from the Safe House collection. Wow, okay, so we're seeing a bit of... Man, this is a crazy skin. The Org Navy Murano, I would have guessed this is from Gods and Monsters, actually. But no, okay, it's from Canal Collection. Oh, yeah, that is coming off. That is coming down fast from a high of about $31 late June. Now down at $15, but kind of back to where it was steady for, let's say, the 2 months before that price spike. Over on CSROI then, looking at the statistical averages for unboxing ROIs. Missing Link Community Sticker Collection are still number 1 and 2 there, 76%, 72% respectively. Then Dr. Boom Charms at 68%. Spy Tech is now at 61%. Small Arm Charms at 52%. Arabesque Collection 51.6%. Crazy, man. I cannot believe these new collections are like 50% returns. It's absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Overpass Collection now sitting down at 46%. I don't know, man. Maybe all hope is lost for Overpass. I'm not sure. I feel like supply is just so high, and I think supply may matter more than demand in some of these collections. I'm going to be real with you. So yeah, roughly for the last, 2 weeks-ish, I guess, yeah, ROI has been quite steady. Or actually, this is only really a week, to be fair. Week and a half. Fairly steady on the Spy Tech collection, sitting around that 60-62% mark. Arabesque dropped off slightly from, around 53%, now 51%. Nah, to be fair, pretty similar as well over the last week. For our case index then, over the last 7 days, Revolver case up 9%, CS20 case up 7%, Snakebite case up 7%, Falchion case 6.3%, and Breakout case up 6%. Those are the biggest gainers. On the other side of the spectrum, Winter Offensive case down 5.2%, Weapon case 1 down 3.3%, Esports 2013 Winter down 2.5%, and then honestly, yeah, not a lot of movement, around 1%, 0. So yeah, actually not a lot of movement downwards this week, more so growth. So okay, that could be a good sign there for cases, which has been, as you can see here, over the last 3 months, I guess, pretty much on a fairly steady decline. So okay, a little movement there. We haven't spoken a lot about the agents recently, but this week, Sergeant Bompson's SWAT up 8%. Primero Tenente still holding pretty strong, honestly. Wait, $154 now? We gotta check this one out, man. Yeah, it's not doing too badly. Like, it's actually holding up. Back in May, it was going for $52, then just up and up and up. Hit a peak of 122, but definitely down a little bit. But it's not just completely plummeting. It's it's around that $100 mark now. It's still holding up, all right. However, we also have the John Van Heeling Cask SWAT agent down 18% this week. Chem has Specialist SWAT 8%. All the SWAT guys are just down. Bio has Specialist. Tree Hugger down 8% and 7% respectively. But yeah, still agents not doing great this week. Let's have a look at our community portfolio then for this week. Sede has suggested the MP9 BioLeak Factory New. This skin has a bright future, supply is high, but I would like to think the demand is as well. And also mil specs from the Dust 21 or Mirage 2021 Factory New. So the MP9 BioLeak Factory New is Chroma 3 collection. 80 cents at the moment, 400,000 supply overall. Honestly, its price has held pretty steady for the last year. It'll be up a little bit because of the gold trade ups, but actually not that much. I'm surprised. A lot of the blues from other collections have done better. Of course, this is from the Chroma collection, so you don't actually need to use factory inputs for factory new Doppler knives. Well, let's just have a little look, for instance, at this is the Chroma 1 collection, the initial one. What are the prices of the... Okay, it's not working. It's not showing prices for all of the skins right now. But interestingly, MP9 Deadly Poison here is going for $7 right now. What is the supply on that? So if we're looking at the MP9 Deadly Poison, only 44,000 total factory new supply. It's obviously an older case, but I'm guessing the float range is quite a bit different. So the MP9 Deadly Poison, full 0 to 1 float range. BioLeak has a 0 to 0.5 float range. So yeah, going to be significantly higher there. Interestingly, none of the mil-spec skins in the Chroma 3 collection actually have a full 0 to 1 float range, as you can see here. That's so weird as well. This case has 7 mil-specs, but the Chroma case only has 5. Look, we have seen skins with roughly that supply hit heights much higher than 80 cents. So I don't think I love this, and I wouldn't be allocating a big portion of the portfolio to it, but it seems like it's been fairly steady. I don't think we'll necessarily lose out a lot on it, so why not? Why don't we just pick a couple up? And right now I can get them for 73 cents here, or 74 cents on SkinSwap. So why don't we just add 10 of those and we'll just see what happens. Very interesting, as I'm just having a look through the Dust 2 collection skins. We obviously saw some price growth earlier, and you can really see that reflected even if you just look at the 1 month trend on a lot of these skins on CS2 right now. Souvenir or not, you can see down to about $5 now, up to around $7.60, and a lot of the listings only started about $8. We can look at the new routes as well. As you can see, about $5 here, up to $7.50. So definitely seeing some growth there. If we go back though and look at the price of these before the souvenir trade ups, they were sitting at around $30. Obviously still now down at $8.62, but pretty crazy to see that actually. Also, just a bit of information, I know I've made some videos on it before, but actually supply overall of the 2021 Mirage collection is quite a bit higher than Dust 2, so much more popular collection to redeem. I think in general there are more solid skins in the 2021 Mirage collection. Obviously, even in the pinks, the Fennec Fox is... I love the Death Strike, but obviously I think the Desert Eagle is much more popular than this. You can argue whether more people like the Desert Hydra or the Gold Arabesque. I think more people would definitely say Desert Hydra, but still solid argument could be made for the AK. But yeah, you've even in the mil specs, this USPS purple DD pack, people really like this. None of the mil specs here really compare. I know the Galil Amber Fade is slightly higher in price, but I don't think it's actually a great skin. Very interesting as well that there is now quite a big price gap. The factory new skins in Mirage 2021 sitting around the $3.60 mark, whereas we just saw that the Dust 2 ones are starting at about $8, to be honest. There is also definitely some pricing differences higher up in the collection though. The factory new Desert Hydra hasn't actually recovered very much. I'm really surprised by this. I'm going to have a look at these supply numbers again, but when I did my initial calculations, it didn't seem like you could actually craft that many new ones with the souvenir supply, but it's sitting about 1550-ish, give or take. But the factory new Gold Arabesque is still holding up fairly well at about 2.2k. Yeah, slightly different float caps, but not a big difference. So yeah, kind of interesting to see that as well. I think we will just pick up some of these humidors. They are the cheapest option in the Mirage collection at the mil-spec range. Slightly lower float cap than the USPS Purple DD Pat and Music Box, but the price is significantly different. These starting at about $16 and $50 factory new, whereas this is only at about, what was it here, $3.60. So I don't know, I think we might pick up 4 of these and add them to the portfolio. Cinder has also suggested that we buy the Poly Soup. So this is the M4 Poly Soup from the Graphic Design Collection, currently sitting at $29. Having a look at its graph, what was its peak? It's $80 back then on removal. Back in April was seeing, yeah, still sitting around $65. So it is kind of at its cheapest price point since, well, yeah, since it was active. I don't know, I just don't love this skin. Like, I think, not that my opinion on the skin itself matters that much, but I don't know. Let's have a little look at its supply here. Only 44,000. Okay, 44,000 is not very much, to be honest. Factory new for a skin that is only going at $29. I'm just using this AK Phantom Disruptor as a random comparison just because I think it has a very similar price. And I don't know, it just came to mind for some reason. Yeah, so look, $28, pretty much identical price. It is a classified skin, but over 100,000 supply. Obviously, it's on an AK, so it's going to be slightly more popular, and I do think it's a better skin than the Poly Soup, just in terms of a play skin. This would mean this is the only other thing we can buy for the budget, but honestly, I don't mind it. Do we have... I think we do have a few industrials from graphic design already. Yeah, so we've got some half-tone whirls here, but that's pretty much it. Look, I think it's interesting, graphic design. I'm very curious to see how it goes over time. When we look at the, back to this graph very quickly, when you're looking at graphic design roughly at 3.8 million total supply on the industrials, it's just so far below anything else. I think this will be really interesting to see how it goes over the next few years. And yes, I can pick one up here, $28.43. So we will do that, and that'll be the portfolio for this week. Super simple. I did mention as well last week that we would do a couple of questions, as I have neglected this Discord channel for a little while. This is the first random question I see here. Seti, how tall are you? 176 centimeters, so like 5'9", 5'10". I can't remember exactly. I don't, we're Australian. We use a logical metric system. No offense to anyone. Orksar has asked, how is your portfolio doing? Heights and straight dimes are down like 50%. The train collection is down overall. Was it only me who waited until its removal for the Armory and got flipped over? Is there any chance of growth now? First thing, definitely not only you. And yeah, a bunch of the stuff is down. I don't know how much exactly, depending on obviously when you bought in, at what prices, etc. But is there any chance of growth now? Absolutely. I have not sold a single high heat sticker, single straight dime, or anything from the train collection, any of the Armory investments. I've not sold a single thing. I'm very happy to hold on to those for a while. As I said with the high heats, and there was some people going, oh, it's like Paris is going to be super over invested. And look, maybe obviously with the delays, there was much higher supply and more people buying in than originally. So obviously the picture can change with time. But that sticker is just insane, man. Super versatile. I still see like new crafts coming up all the time using it, and even just the things like the fake Howcraft, etc. I think are going to be popular forever. Given as well that they just released that whole set, and also the direction kind of that recent ones have been, they don't offer nearly as much crafting potential, and especially like 4-5x crafting potential as that collection. I'm super happy to hold on to it for a couple of years and see where it goes. Yeah, like I mentioned, I'm not buying most of my like long-term holds for a quick flip, so really doesn't bother me. And even I honestly don't know what like percentage my portfolio is down or up right now. I don't look at it very often. I'm going to be real with you guys. I buy things because I think they're solid, and then I will wait for a while. And by a while, I don't mean 2 weeks or 2 months. Let's give it a few years. So obviously the best investments I've ever made, and the most money that I've ever made, was holding things for 5+ years, 10 years ideally, but at least 5. I saw huge gains over that time. So I'm really not fussed if it's fluctuating up and down. Even if it goes down 50% right now, who's to say what kind of impact that will have in the next 5 years? So I'm super happy to hold those. Pedro's asked, at how many zeros after the decimal point does low float begin? After 5 or 6 or even further out? This is a really interesting question, because there is no set answer. It's not a matter of like how many zeros after the decimal point. It matters heavily on the skin. Why are people buying it with the low float, and what is its float cap? For instance, if it's a skin that is not really being used in trade-ups, like let's just say the M4A1S Blue Phosphor, for instance. The M4A1S Blue Phosphor, first off, is float capped at 0 to 0.08. So it doesn't actually have a lot of minimal wear skins. Most of them are factory new. So actually getting, for instance, a 0.01 Blue Phosphor is very easy. Like a huge percentage of them are already around that point. So if you would just have a look on a marketplace, you probably wouldn't even find much overpay for like a 0.01, because a lot of them are 0.01. However, if you have a skin with a full float range and it is a popular play skin and it scratches poorly, maybe 0.01, it's only 1 0, it's not even any extra zeros essentially, would actually drive quite a bit of overpay compared to 0.06. I think even like, for instance, on the Eye of Horus, I've seen some pretty significant overpay for anything, even with 2 zeros. And there's obviously no trade-up utility there. It is just a play skin. And even for some skins that don't have scratches or much visual change. People just like the kind of collector's aspect of that, I guess. However, if you're looking at skins that are used in trade-up contracts, then having those extra decimal places could drive much more overpay than if it's just someone overpaying a little bit for a play skin or for a bit of fun or whatever. It also depends what the exact float is. Like if it's a 0.01337, for instance, or something close to that, or 0.0420 or something, that could also drive overpay more so than the fact that there's extra zeros there. Another important factor is that float caps scale trade-up inputs now. So if a skin, for instance, only starts at 0.13, let's say there are some skins that have no factor in your variant. So let's just say they start at 0.13. Having a 0.135 float would probably scale down, or depending on what the higher float cap is, to be like 0.00 float. So there's so many factors that go into it there. I would have a look at recent sales. I would have a look on multiple sites, try and search for that kind of filter for that float range, see what current listings are. Obviously, some, if it's a really illiquid skin, are just going to be ridiculously priced, so you can't actually expect for it to sell for that much overpay. But yeah, I would start there. There's no correct answer to that, but I would say, just as a very, very rough guide, I think anything below 0.01, so as soon as you get to 2 zeros, I think it would be a low float. Once you get to 3, 4 zeros, a very low float, and I would pretty much on any skin be expecting quite a bit of overpay once you hit 3, 4 zeros. 5 or 6 is only people like Sparkles and people going for insane trade-ups who are pretty much buying those. There's no use for most people. It doesn't make any visual difference on the skin for any skin at that point, so it's really only for trade-ups. So yeah, I would honestly say after 00, you're already starting to look good, especially if it's 00 that rounds down, like it's closer to 000 than it is to 0.01. Then yeah, so anything 0.004 and lower I think is already quite low, to be honest. New Nick has asked a pretty interesting question here, actually. How much do you really make out of CS2 skin, guys, out of curiosity? This question is obviously not directly asking me, and it's hard to say. Overall, I don't actually track everything to the cent, but I have got videos on my channel before in certain weeks when I've or months when I've tracked things. I've got a video coming out soon about arbitrage. I obviously have my trade up series, which you can literally see. Trade ups I do track, to be honest, and there's honestly weeks where I make thousands, other weeks where I lose thousands. It's hard to say what it averages out to, but I wouldn't be surprised if I consistently, like on average over a year, like a long time span, make $300 to $600 a week on trade ups. And obviously for specific periods of times when I'm doing a lot of trade ups, that can definitely go over $1,000 a week, multiple weeks in a row. It just depends. Obviously the flipping as well, depending on your bankroll. It's probably not really a question of how much in terms of dollar amount, but as a percentage of your bankroll, because that's the key factor. Like if you have 100 grand to spend, then you could simply buy more skins, flip more skins, etc. So it would be much easier to make $100 than if you only had a bankroll of $100, right? But yeah, I've got a video coming out soon which will show that, but probably make that, man, that's really hard to say. I don't know. I'm just going to say another, 100, 200, 300 something dollars a week, like just flipping a few skins. I honestly don't flip skins very much. I'm also not a big cash trader like the other skin YouTubers are, so yeah. And then the other one is just like the long-term investing stuff. It's you don't really track it on a, like what's the time frame here? Like if you want to say ever, I mean, I don't even know, to be honest, but I'll throw out a number. I mean, as I said, I've pretty much paid for my entire tuition fees for like university off that, so I'm just going to throw out a number, maybe $50,000 from like holding cases pretty much and other skins. But obviously that's a slightly longer time frame. But yeah, huge gains on things like the glove case, breakout case, Phoenix case even. But I held those for a long time. Yeah, I can't really put a direct number onto this, but if you watch a couple of my different videos, you'll see how things add up. And then obviously I have other revenue sources now, obviously content creation, but this is not really the point of the question. But yeah, so it's hard to say, but I think if you've got a couple $1,000 you could reasonably put into rotation, I think making 10% a week or 15% a week is absolutely feasible. And if you just consider that if your money's sitting in a bank account, even a high yield savings account, maybe getting 5.5%, you put it into the SP 500, which obviously I have a lot of money in as well. That's not to say this is a bad choice, but what you may be consistently over a decade, making maybe 8%, maybe 9% if you're generous. Last few years, I know I've been more about 15%, but obviously in the preceding years, but this was it obviously tanked a lot with COVID. So depending on your entry point, that the returns could have been looking a lot better or a lot worse. But yeah, if you're able to just flip skins or do trade ups, make 10%, or even 5%, but on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, then you're absolutely destroying those other percentages over 6 months, over a year span. So yeah, I think that makes a big difference and really adds up over time. And so yeah, absolutely. Seti has just answered -1k last month. Yeah, sometimes it goes like that as well. Donkey has asked, is there a way to mass sell skins? I guess the easiest way is to use an instant sell site. Some of the ones I've linked in the description below, including my sponsor SkinSwap, have an instant cash out services. So you can pretty much just go put your whole inventory on there, and they will give you the money, no questions asked. The prices are listed there, so there's nothing hidden about it. It's obvious, you know what you're signing up for straight away. The other way would obviously be to contact like cash traders. I mean, as I said, I don't do a lot of cash trading myself, but if people want to sell me certain things or cash out the inventory, I'll try and help out where I can, to be honest. Just send me a message. But otherwise, yeah, you just have to list on sites, or you could list into buy orders. Like you could sell into buy orders. You could probably potentially do better on Steam, depending on what you're selling and how many different things you're selling and how liquid they are and how expensive they are. It might be easier to mass sell onto the Steam market, buy something else that's liquid, and then resell that on third party if you're actually trying to cash out. So there's a couple of ways to do it, but honestly, the most easy way, if you really need money fast for whatever reason, just go to an instant cash out site. One of the ones ideally linked below, or at least just make sure you check your sources. Please don't get scammed. I'll just finish off then by mentioning, for those who missed it, that applications for episode 2 of Skin Showdown are now open. So this is my new skins quiz show. It was absolutely a ton of fun recording the first episode. If you want to join this coming week, potentially win an AK Be the Monster entirely for free. Participation is free. You don't need anything besides a webcam, microphone, and to show up on time and have a lot of fun. Good energy, skins knowledge, absolutely amazing. Episode 1 is out now, so please go show some love. Thanks to all the guys who participated in that as well. Was great hanging out with them. But yeah, if you have any questions about that, just let me know in the Discord. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed this week. Slightly shorter than some of the prior episodes, but I think that's good. Some of them were getting a bit... the tangents were quite long, and actually the weather is beautiful today. I just bought a new camera lens. I've been holding off upgrading for a while, but I don't know if any of you are photographers. This is not a pro setup, but I'm probably pretty bad at photography, all things considered. Canon EOS R50 just got the new RF 100 to 400 lens. I think it's fantastic. I'm mostly like architectural photography, but do enjoy a bit of wildlife as well. I'm going to try and improve the live portraits and everything like that. My partner would like some more photos, so let's work on that then. But yeah, gonna go do a little walk around the neighborhood. Maybe take some photos. We'll see how we go. But yeah, thanks so much for listening as always, guys. Appreciate your support. It means the world to me. Best of luck. Take care of yourselves, and all the best.